It was a chilly evening in the heart of the city, the kind of night where the lights of tall glass towers reflected against the rain-washed streets, and inside a small but bustling café stood a young waitress named Alina, a girl whose life had been defined by hardship and relentless determination. She was only 21, her fragile frame hidden behind the stiff black apron she wore, her hair tied back in a messy bun, her eyes carrying 1,000 untold stories of sacrifice and silent endurance. For ever since her father had passed away 3 years ago, leaving behind a mountain of debt and a sick mother who could barely walk, Alina had been the only one to hold her family together, working double shifts, skipping her own meals so that her younger brother could eat, and enduring the dismissive looks of wealthy customers who often mocked her broken shoes or the faint scars on her hands from endless hours of dishwashing. Yet beneath her tired appearance, Alina carried a secret gift, one that few knew about. She had a sharp mind, a love for languages, and a heart that never stopped dreaming, for when others slept, she stayed awake reading borrowed books, listening to online lectures she couldn't afford, and practicing foreign phrases under her breath as she carried trays of steaming coffee. She believed, deep within her, that knowledge could be the key to changing her fate, but she never imagined that a single encounter one night would turn her life upside down and bring her face to face with a powerful CEO whose arrogance would test her spirit and whose challenge would shake the entire room. That night, the cafe was unusually crowded. A corporate dinner had been booked by a group of wealthy businessmen, their laughter echoing like thunder, their expensive suits glowing under the golden light, and Alina, as always, served silently, balancing plates and cups with precision, never letting her exhaustion show, when suddenly the door opened, and in walked a tall, sharp-faced man, his presence commanding immediate respect. This was Daniel Grayson, a billionaire CEO, known across the city for his ruthless business mind and his disdain for people he considered beneath him. His watch alone could have paid off Alina's family debt. His shoes shone brighter than the cafe floors, and when he entered, even the businessmen lowered their voices, for Daniel was the kind of man whose laughter could crush egos and whose words could destroy reputations. Alina noticed him not because of his wealth but because of the way he looked at everyone, as if the world was a chessboard and people were mere pawns. Still, she walked up politely, asked for his order, and when he looked at her with a smirk, he said something that made her heart race. "Bring me a black coffee, and hurry, little girl, I have no time for mistakes." She nodded, returned with the coffee, and set it gently before him, but instead of drinking, Daniel pulled out a sheet of paper filled with foreign text. Complex sentences in multiple languages, the kind of thing that could confuse even a well-trained translator, and holding it up, he laughed, a deep mocking laugh that silenced the entire cafe, then looked directly at Alina and said, "Tell you what, if you can translate this correctly, I'll give you my monthly salary. It's more than you'll ever make in your lifetime." The room erupted with laughter, the businessmen cheered at his cruel joke, and Alina felt her cheeks burn red with embarrassment, but then something inside her refused to stay silent. She thought of her mother lying sick at home, of her brother struggling with his schoolwork, of the nights she whispered foreign words to herself like prayers, and with trembling hands, she asked to see the paper. Daniel raised an eyebrow, amused by her courage, and handed it over as though giving a toy to a child, expecting her to fail instantly. The paper was indeed complicated. It held sentences in French, German, Spanish, and even a line of ancient Latin, but Alina's eyes lit up, for she had studied them in secret, memorizing grammar and phrases until they became second nature, and within seconds, her lips moved fluently, rolling out the translations with accuracy and confidence, her voice steady, her accent clean, her delivery breathtaking. The cafe fell into stunned silence, every eye fixed on the humble waitress who had just shattered the arrogance of a billionaire. Daniel's smirk froze on his face, his laughter cut short, and for the first time in years, he found himself speechless, watching as this girl, whom he had dismissed as a nobody, translated his paper effortlessly as though it were child's play. When she finished, Alina placed the paper back on the table, looked him in the eye, and with quiet strength said, "You owe me your salary, sir." The businessmen gasped, some chuckled nervously, and a few even applauded, unable to hide their admiration for her boldness. Daniel leaned back, his sharp jaw tightening, his pride wounded, but behind his cold eyes, something unexpected sparked, a mixture of curiosity, respect, and perhaps even shame, for he realized that beneath the surface of poverty, greatness often hid in plain sight. He laughed again, but this time softer, not mocking, almost thoughtful, and said, "Interesting, very interesting." That night marked the beginning of a story far bigger than Alina could imagine, for what she thought was just a moment of courage would soon open doors to opportunities, trials, betrayals, and choices that would test her very soul. And as the cafe buzzed with whispers about the fearless waitress who humbled a billionaire, Alina went home unaware that her life had changed forever, unaware that Daniel Grayson would not forget her face, Her voice, or the fire in her eyes, and unaware that destiny had just begun to weave their lives together in ways neither of them could control. Her heart, still beating fast from the adrenaline of that moment, carried a quiet prayer as she walked the rainy streets back home, whispering to herself that maybe, just maybe, her days of struggle were numbered, and her hidden gift had finally been noticed by the world.